Welcome to another episode of our channel. In this video, we'll talk about the retirement of the AAV, an amphibious vehicle that marked an entire era. Before discussing the AAV itself, we need to understand why vehicles like it are so crucial and so dangerous. An amphibious landing is one of the most complex military operations that exist, involving precise coordination between ships, airplanes, helicopters, troops, and vehicles. And all of this while facing enemy fire, treacherous waves, and unpredictable terrains. The transition from water to land is the most vulnerable moment, where forces are exposed and without adequate cover. Historically, these challenges are old, with a classic example being the landing at Incheon on September 15, 1950, in Korea. Incheon was a logistical nightmare, with extreme tides up to 10 meters that only allowed landings on specific days of the month. Narrow mine channels, strong currents of up to 8 knots, and 100 real beaches, only to have containment walls and mud that trapped the vehicles. But at that moment, with the UN forces led by the United States trapped and surrounded at the southern tip of the Korean peninsula, landing at Incheon on the North Korean enemy's back was the only way to get out alive. The fleet of 230 ships from 9 nations faced typhoons like Kezia, which damaged vessels. The LSTs had to be relieved to avoid grounding at low tide, and the coordination between assault waves was chaotic due to rain, smoke, and poor visibility. The LVTs, precursors of the AAV, and the LCVPs got mixed up, landing at wrong points, with enemy fire from machine guns, mortars, and armored vehicles, causing heavy casualties to the Allied forces as they landed. But despite this, the assault led by General Douglas MacArthur was a success, with 14,000 North Koreans killed, 7,000 captured, and Seoul liberated. But this operation taught a harsh lesson. Western amphibious forces needed vehicles that were faster, protected, and more versatile. In the Vietnam War, operations like Starlight in 1965 showed similar problems, highlighting the natural challenges of the amphibious vehicles of the time, such as vulnerability to mines, coastal artillery, and adverse weather conditions. And it was precisely to overcome all this that the AAV began to be developed in the late 1960s. Arising from the urgent need to replace the old LVTP-5, which was slow in the water, had limited range, and maintenance that was expensive and difficult. The Marine Corps wanted something that could transport troops from ship to shore through rough waters, and that could continue operating on land as a mechanized combat vehicle, supporting the Marines as they advanced. In 1964, the Marines launched a contest, and FMC Corporation, now Bay Systems, won with the LVTP-X-12 prototype. Tests from 1967 to 1969 led to a $78.5 million contract for 942 units in 1970. With the vehicle entering service in 1972, named the LVTP-7, and renamed the AAV-7A1 in the 80s after upgrades. Technically, the AAV is an armored beast, nearly 8 meters long and weighing 29 tons. It carries 3 crew members and up to 21 Marines with full equipment, with armament including a .50 caliber machine gun and a 40 mm Mark 19 grenade launcher. Its propulsion is ensured by a Cummins VTA 903T engine with 525 horsepower, allowing 72 kilometers per hour on road, 32 off-road, and 13 kilometers per hour in water. On land, its range is 480 kilometers, and in water, it is 37 kilometers, surviving Sea State 5, with waves up to 3 meters. In terms of protection, it has a 45 mm aluminum hull, with EAA kits to withstand 14.5 mm projectiles and 155 mm fragments. Operationally, it leaves amphibious ships by its own means, navigates to the coast, and advances inland, not limited to disembarking soldiers. The AAV operated in dozens of conflicts, such as in 1983 during the American invasion of Grenada, and in the Persian Gulf in 1991, taking Iraqi troops by surprise on the Kuwaiti coast. In the invasion of Iraq in 2003, it stood out in the Battle of Nasiriyah, but 8 were destroyed by RPGs, mortars, and friendly fire from A-10SS. Throughout all this time, despite always being seen as reliable and easy and cheap to maintain, the vehicle began to show some serious vulnerabilities, such as weak protection against IEDs and RPGs, with its aluminum hull clearly insufficient to withstand more robust projectiles. And aquatic accidents such as the 2020 sinking in California that left 9 dead led to suspensions of water operations in 2021. The Marines saw the AAV as an old warrior, reliable, versatile, but outdated. On the positive side, its maintenance was very easy, and it had shared parts from the Bradley, further reducing repair costs. And it also had good mobility in soft terrain, such as beaches and deserts. But on the negative side, the internal space was cramped, it frequently failed in old components, and it was difficult to evacuate in emergencies, as in the 2020 accident, with many calling it a floating coffin. And with the ban on water operations, it ended up becoming more of a land vehicle, losing its amphibious essence. And so, on September 26, 2025, the AAV was officially retired by the Marines after 53 years, marking the end of an era, with the chosen replacement being the ACV, which stands for Amphibious Combat Vehicle, an 8x8 resulting from a partnership between BAE Systems and the Italians from Iveco, chosen in 2018. The choice of the ACV was mainly motivated by the fact that it has better protection with a V-hull for absorbing mine explosions, reduced thermal signature, greater mobility, reaching 105 kilometers per hour on road and 11 kilometers per hour in water, but with a smaller troop transport capacity, being able to accommodate only 13 Marines compared to the AAV's 21, but with much more comfort and safety, especially for emergency evacuations. It comes equipped with a remote turret with a .50 caliber machine gun or a 30 mm cannon in the ACV-30 variation, with each vehicle costing around $5 million, with variations for command missions and vehicle recovery. It has been acquired since 2018, with the Marines planning to purchase 632 units in total. It is seen as much more versatile and modular than the AAV, and capable of better accompanying the Marines through enemy territory. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet,